met a few times and talked about it, and I think you guys are going to have a great time. So if you would, please welcome Paul Joyner.
Well, so far I didn't get a message that any of the small group teams broke up after last time, that I destroyed the membership of the church. Pastor didn't call me and say, hey, you ruined our small group leadership program. So I appreciate being back. People come with a lot of questions. I was privileged to speak at a meeting of coaches, and in that meeting there were some coaches who were involved with training with the NFL. The NFL didn't ask me to come, the NFL didn't ask me to come and talk to Tom Brady a little bit about how to win the next Super Bowl. But some of their coaches, hopefully, you can pray about this, hopefully maybe some of the training that I did with the coaches will move that direction at some point. The problem is I've never played football, but that's not what this training was about. It was just about getting in the heads of different athletes and how to help them understand how to train them better, whether it's male or female or no matter what sport. So you won't see me on the sidelines with Belichick helping that team at all. It's not going to happen right now, hopefully. Let me tell you what we're going to do today. We are going to put our roller skates on. We're going to fill a teacup with a fire hose with information. And then at the very end of this session, we're going to have about 20 minutes where you can ask questions. Because I know a lot of you have had questions, and I've gotten some emails from a lot of you. In the past 2 times we've been together, we first talked about how people in your small group either connect or conflict with God. And then the last time we went through the 4 adventure styles, helping you to understand the key components and key ways to identify each of those 4 adventure styles. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. Before we do that, based on what you know already, or what your husband told you, or your wife told you, how many travelers do we have here? And look around to see who else shares your travelers. How many trailblazers do we have in the room? Good. How many navigators? A lot of hands for navigators. And how about explorers? I know we asked this already, but just so I can see. Great. They're all sitting at one table over there. They're all like, this is our world. Leave us alone. How many of you don't know? Still, okay. How many of the training last time and still don't know? Okay. Ask people around you, they'll probably tell you what you are. I find that happens a lot. I just got finished teaching at a organization who does customer service training, and it was very funny. The first day, we spent the whole day working on adventure styles. The second day, we talked about customers. And at the end of the day, some people still couldn't figure it out. And finally, everybody in the room said, can we just cut through the chase? And everybody started telling each other, you're this, I know you don't want to be, but that's who you are, let's move on. It was kind of funny, it kind of got out of control. I was like, listen folks, we don't let them find their own way to their adventure style. We don't have to tell them. You have a big handout here. Good news, I'm not going to go through this today. I don't want to scare anybody. This is for you to take home. This is an exhaustive 24 ways to identify an adventure style. So if you had a little bit of questions from last time of who you are and what your adventure style, this can help you. If you look down on the left-hand side here, this lists the different ways you can tell. For instance, life approach. Explore is purposeful pursuit. Powerful pursuit for trailblazer, planned pursuit for the navigator, and playful pursuit. All the way down the left side, you'll see the categories, and then you will find the different, this will help you a lot, I think, give you some clues into you and to your people in your small group. The very last page is a more exhaustive, just general core attributes, strengths, and weaknesses of each one. Now, there are some that are crossover a little bit. Probably some people have a hard time telling the difference between a traveler and explorer at times. But this will help you drill down. When you look at the people you're teaching, which we're going to get into that today, these will give you more clues, more than what I gave you last time. But as you can tell, this takes a whole morning to go through this, and actually part of an afternoon. We didn't have time last time, but I want you to have this so you can use it as a reference, and this might help you a little bit more, but we will not go through the whole thing this morning. Sounds good? So now let's talk about the people in your small group. If you take out your other handout, I'll go through this with you. I always say that leading a small group is kind of like leading the children of Israel through the wilderness, right? You're all heading the same direction. You all have the same goal. But I'm sure out of 12 tribes, they all had a different opinion on how to get there, right? I'm sure every time Moses stopped to eat, someone said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I know that you probably have a plan, but it's been 30 years. Maybe you could use some help. I'm just offering my services. Seems like we're just wandering in the wilderness. The next person walks up, who'd that be? A navigator, just concerned about the plan. Someone else walk up and say, "Hey, I'm really concerned. Everyone's talking, and people are kind of making fun of us, and I really care what people think, and I really want to please my tribe, and they're very unhappy. Can we just kind of do something different?" That's another person. Then you have the person who walks in like, "Look, if we don't make this happen in the next month, we're out. My whole tribe is going to take off in another direction. We're done. We want action. We want to get there, deliver, or we're out." And then you have then you have probably some of us explorers who really, we do enjoy the, for like 30 years, let's go another 10. Because as explorers, we like the journey more than we do the destination. Because I've been to Israel. How many have been to Israel? Did you think what I did when I got there? Yeah, we went together. You get out like Israel, like this is it. This is the promised land. I don't know about you, I was a little disappointed. I was like, I grew up in Tucson. This looks like Tucson. I was waiting for the Cowboys and Indians to come up and blow it, whatever they do, that ram's horn and do something. It was like bizarre. Can you imagine them going from Egyptian desert, the promised land for 40 years, the promised land's going to be great, the promised land, and they get there and it's like, this is not good. This is not Hawaii or Tahiti, Swiss Alps, anything. For 40 years, we could have walked to the Swiss Alps. Anyway, everyone has a different idea of how to get there. You, as a small group leader, have to lead and make everyone happy. Good thing you don't have a million people in your house on Tuesday night. You just have maybe 9, 10, 15, 20 maybe. So today we're going to talk about how to make that work. If you look down that fourth paragraph, chances are you may have a member who approaches life philosophically and connects to God and others through emotion. Perhaps you have a member whose life approaches to power through the day at hand, wanting to lead or connect to God and others through action. Then there is that group member whose life is run by a plan and connects to God and others through instruction and order. And you might have a personality who is there for the fun experience of it all and connects to God and others through social interaction. This is why, if you're going to get through the wilderness, you must customize your leadership approach based on the personalities of the ones you lead. How do we usually lead? By our personality. And that's okay sometimes. And that's why God has called us, because apparently God felt like you were qualified to lead this group. But I will lead better and more effectively if I say, if this was my small group, I need to know who is in my group. Because as God speaks to us in our giftedness and the way He knows we connect to Him, we need to do the same thing with the people we lead, with our flock. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The best way to operate your Bible study is to customize your leadership approach to the life approach of your small groups. Now, I know some of you say, look, I can say that. I'm 60 years old. I'm not going to do this anymore. This is who I am. Either love me or leave me. And this is what I have. And these are the only snacks that I brought. So you either like it or you don't. That's okay. But I would encourage you today to say, let's try to be a little more open and at least consider the people that are in our small group and how to reach them. So what we're going to do, we're going to examine 4 clues. You say, well, Paul, you understand people because maybe this is God's gift to you or you're intuitive. But it's not as much about being intuitive and being gifted as it is being observant. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through 4 clues that help you know. These are 4 clues that I can listen to these 4 ladies and say, bingo. I can tell by the word choice, the tone of their voice, their interest, what they keep bringing up, and their behavior, which one of these 4 they are. Are you ready to go through this with me? Let's do it, okay? And this will help your marriage probably too. No, I'm just kidding. It could. Or it could destroy it. One of the 2. So in your group, you probably have the explorer, which is a deep thinker. The trailblazer, which is a what? Competitor. The navigator, which is a what? Planner. I know, I'm just going to whisper this. I know a lot of you are navigators. You have a plan. It makes you very nervous when people don't honor the plan. Such is our world. You have to figure out how to make that work, I promise you. Then there's a traveler who narrates everything, right? So, here's the 4 clues. Tone, words, interest, and behavior. You're like, where was this information when I had children who were like 4 years old? You guys probably already know this. So, your small group members' choice of words gives you insight into their life approach. Their life approach, how you approach life, is what I believe God gave you to do what He's called you to do. As you remember, Explorer, it's all philosophical. Trailblazer, it's usually based on powering through and getting it done. A navigator is through order, and a traveler is usually a more experiential, social way of approaching life. We all get the same thing done. Remember our talk about Disneyland? We all have the same goal, but it's just the way we approach it. So words. Here's some clues to insights. These give you a point of reference, perspective, knowledge of the topic, confidence, as well as clue words. First bullet point. Are the words original or lifted from Bible study material or informational resources? Why is that a clue? If someone is saying to you or talking to you in the exact wording that's found in the material, that means they probably are more navigational, instructional learning, and first of all, they've read the material. Some people are like, oh, that's the 4th week, I need to get on that, I need to do the material. That usually tells you they're people who are a little bit more conscious on behaving correctly. That would be a clue to me that they might be more navigational or explorer because they have taken the time to investigate what has been printed. Or are the word choices they're using expressing themselves? Is it their twist on what the material is? Is the words they choose just more of a self-expression? Like, this is how I feel. I'm thinking. In my mind, I know what this says. But in my mind, is it this? Those people usually are not behavior-based people. They're people like, I know this is the lines, I know this is the box, but I kind of like to step out of it and kind of tell you what I think. That's a clue that they be more of an open, freer thinker mind, which probably would be to explore a traveler. Are they talking in generalities or specifics? Some people talk in generalities. How many are travelers here? You tend to speak in more general terms, with a little bit more of a, what's your punctuation mark? Dot, 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 more open-ended, more consensus giving, more inclusive. You're the most inclusive of all 4. So you tend to speak in generalities because you don't want to alienate anybody. So if someone in my group is speaking in generalities and not too specific, that gives me a clue that they are probably someone who's more of a consensus builder than they are someone who has to be right. Do they use fillers to express what they do not care to articulate? Have you noticed some people, here we go. This is, my week, I did this, and blah, 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 and da, 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 da. You know how, you're like, what did you just say? Well, I read this material on Romans, and then after that, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. And they don't use the words. They're using filler words. Trailblazers rarely use filler words because they're going to tell you exactly what they think. So that would tell me that maybe travelers or explorers, they tend to think, what did I just do? Some people don't care to talk about it. Other people, their dialogue, their word choice is a journey as you're hearing it. So listen to that. Are they telling you or asking you? Who would probably tell you? What's that? Navigator or what? Trailblazer. Because their communication is exclamatory and declarative. Navigators probably aren't as exclamatory and declarative, but they're more There's no wiggle room. The plan's already been done. Just saying, hey, here's my idea. I thought we'd all do this and see, does that sound good? No, Navigator's more, we're going to start here, go to this table, his table will finish here, we'll exit out this door, get on the elevator, you'll get in your car and go home and be very thankful. You're like, okay, it was nice, that was right. That's what we're going to do, but I just kind of wish I could have said, can I stop and get a drink first? Declarative would be, we're leaving and we're going to get out of here, and we're going to get out of here by 11. Okay? Figure out on your own how you're going to do it, but you need to be out. It's just, it may not be that strong, but it's declarative or exclamatory. Do they use others to support an important point? In other words, do they say, well, everyone's thinking this? Are they using consensus to tell you what they feel? They're probably more traveler, which is more open-ended, exclusive again. Or do they use others to say, I feel this way, but so does, well, I agree with John MacArthur on this point. Oh, okay. It's that self-achievement. So if I want to make a strong point, for some reason I got to tell you about a few other people that I know who feel the same way. That's probably a trailblazer. We feel this way. Okay, nothing wrong with that. It just gives me a clue to who they are. And then quickly, is there descriptive words they use to express themselves? Just listen to the way they describe things. Is it a big picture? Is it very pointed? Is it something fresh and new that you've never heard expressed that way? Or is it something, again, that you know has been lifted from resource material? Or something they just poly-parroted from the news? That happens a lot in your small groups, probably when you first get in. Like, oh, the news. And everybody starts, well, I think this, I know you probably don't want to get there in your small groups, right? Try to stay out of that. But you can tell immediately where they're coming from. Is there words they repeat often? Clue words. Someone said, hey, this would be fun. This would be a good time. I think this would be a lot of fun. Who would that be? The traveler. Your traveler is experiential. They use that word a lot. And the word excited. I'm not making this up, it's just the way it is. And that's good. God put them in our life to have community, and I'm just glad they're there. Is someone saying, hey, can we go through the details, or I'd like to go over the schedule of this? I'd like to make sure I have this all taken care of. Who would that be? Navigator. Who is always dropping words in about the past or the future? This table back there. Explorers, right? Explorers have a hard time living in the present. Remember when we talked about that last time? We live in the past and the future. Navigators live in the present that they planned a long time ago. Trailblazers and travelers live in the present. Explorers, we live in the past and the future. What happened to us, where we've been, and then like, what's next? And someone say, well, I think that's good to think about the future, but right now it's maybe time to get up and get dressed and go to the job. It's time to, not just sit around and think. And we have to. So those are words. Let's go to tone real quick. Not only is the choice of people's words telling, but also the tone, or I call it a dialogue song, in which they are delivered. One's tone can reveal their emotion and give you insight to the level of confidence, excitement, concern, and commitment. Is your tone open-ended or closed off? So a tone is what I call your dialogue song. Does this lady have a dialogue song? Mm-hmm. Right? I could go through the room and we would all know each other's dialogue. Joyce has a dialogue song. It is her personality put to the tone of her voice and how she uses her inflections. When you hear that, you immediately know it's a clue into who they are and how they approach life. Her dialogue song might be very different than, Joyce, what adventure style do you think you are? She's praying about it still. She says she's the best of all, whatever one that is. What would you think?
Between traveler and
Okay. All right. She's praying about traveler and navigator, going between the two. But whatever it is, her tone is open. It's very, I would like to talk to you about this, but it's still open, but it's very confident. And it's very inclusive. And I think the best way to be is so no one knows what adventure style we are. To be like Christ and to say you are balanced, perfect balance of all. And I think Joyce, that speaks of you very highly because it's very hard sometimes to know who people are when they have that Christ-like way of talking. But sometimes in tone, people do have this song. We'll talk about it. Is it open-ended or closed off? Is the tone of their voice open and thinking? Or is that raw? Like, okay, well, we're not going to talk about that. That's over. Or this is what I want. Boom. That's a tone. Open-ended or closed. Are they using sounds to express what should be words? Have you heard that a lot? So someone's talking like, well, and I can tell I'm an explorer, so we'll explore this a lot. Because I'm on a journey. And sometimes the journey is, you know, I was thinking, I don't know. That inflection is a journey. I got in the car in that sound and drove around for a minute. Okay, now I'm here. Get out and I'll talk. That's a good example of how it works. Or silence. Some people can't stand silence, right? Other people will think, like probably sometimes when you share your testimony in your group, someone will say, well, I can tell you what happened this week. It was a tough week. Anyone's like, and you start to say something. This even happens during prayer, you notice. Are they praying? Are you there? And then as soon as you start to pray, it was a tough week because, and you're like, okay, we're still with them. They're still talking. But it could be the noise or the lack of noise that tells you insight. Are they a thinker? Are they journeying with this conversation? What are they doing? Are they talking generalities? Do you detect fear, wonder, playfulness, or suspicion in their voice? Some of your people in your small group are always suspicious of anything that's said. They're suspicious of anything Pastor Jeremiah said last week. Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. Okay, here it comes. What do you believe? They're opening up. This is what I feel. This is what I know. Some people are just more playful. Yeah, it's great. It's fun. That's a clue. Can you hear a note of sadness, excitement, concern, or arrogance in your voice? Those are little clues too, right? How they feel. Are they wanting to be asked what they feel? Are they trying to learn or are they trying to teach when they share? Let's go on. Is there a rhythm of voice moving the conversation forward or slowing it down? In group discussions, are they trying to move it forward or are they trying to slow it down and want everything to be more slower, a little bit more methodical? That's probably traveler, trailblazer, moving it forward. Explorer, navigator will slow it down some because of what they're thinking or what their plan, their steps are. Is the tone of the voice modulating higher or lower? And does this small group member use extreme voice inflections for emphasis? Those are pretty obviously known, but again, those are clues. So we have words, tone, now interest. Words and tone are motivated by interest. A person's prime interest can be quite apparent if you listen close enough to the clues they deliver in your interactions. What is the first topic they bring up? When they walk in the door, what's the first thing they bring up? Are they narrating their day? Are they talking about what happened? Are they telling you that you talk to your neighbors and ask them not to park on the street because I need to park on the street and I don't have enough parking outside? Are they concerned about the details of the meeting? What are they talking about? That is a clue. What aspect of the experience are they asking you to affirm or confirm? Are they asking you, are they trying to find connection? Is it interaction? Is it details? Is it significance? What is it that they continue? What is their interest in the group? Is there some aspect of the small group they seem overly concerned about? Do they want to share? Who would that be probably more than anybody? And this table in the back, sorry. More. It's important to kind of share your thoughts. We don't have enough time to share. Okay, well, it's been 30 minutes. not called share groups, it's called small groups. But they want to share, and travelers want to share too. They want to narrate. Who's more concerned with the schedule than any of them? And who's also more concerned about the study? And is everyone doing it? And we didn't get through the small group study that we're supposed to. Navigator and Explorer. Social, like, hey folks, we need to buckle down and get some stuff done. Who might that be? Traveler, sometimes Trailblazers. Significance. Travelers have a little bit of hard time with significance, and Trailblazers really want to be significant in the group. So look, I think it's a little bit more about not wondering, but about what is and what has been achieved is probably more your Trailblazer. And when you go through this list, this will become a little bit more clear to you, your big fold-out sheet. Can you identify what is motivating them to engage in your small group? I will tell you that probably not everyone who's in your small group, the motivation for being there is not the same. Right? Beatrice, what is your motivation for being in a small group? What would you say your number one motivation?
Gives me purpose of meeting.
Purpose, okay. It's important for you. You wanted to go there. How many would agree that's purpose? How many is more like, I really do enjoy the social interaction? Good. How many is like, I really love to have a Bible study I'm always involved with, and it gives me a little bit of order and direction for my personal Bible study? Right. Everyone's there for a different reason, and in a minute we're going to find out how you've got to make sure every meeting hits everybody. So remember, what are they there for? If you have people in your small group and you can't determine why they're there, you need to start working on that. Because when you understand their motivation for coming out in the middle of the week to a small group, until you know why they're there, and you may even want to say one time, not to try to, I should have said this a long time ago. Do not sit in a room and go, hey, before we get started, I want to tell everybody what you are. You're a navigator, you're a traveler, and they're like crying. Well, I don't want to be that. I want to be a Christian. No, you're a traveler. Maybe a Christian traveler? I don't know. I've never seen that. I don't sit around and tell people anytime who they are. If they really want to know, we'll give them information. They can figure it out themselves. And even if they're not right at first, we're sitting around training in my room, my office, and we have someone new, and they go through the material, like, oh, I think I'm this, and everybody behind them is going. They all know they're not. We sometimes want to be what we're not. We like to be. And then about 2 months later, they'll knock on my door, and they'll open the door, and like, Paul, I'm not a traveler. I think I'm a trailblazer. Like, okay, all right, fine. They shut the door. I'm like, okay. They figured it out, so don't sit around and label people. That's not the goal. Are they expressing an individual or group interest? Some people are more about me. Some people are more about us. And it could be all of these people. That might be more of a high end and a low end. A higher end expression tends to be a little bit more about my agenda. The low end is a little bit more about us. And again, this will help remind you on the high end and low end expression of each adventure style. And again, I know I'm filling a teacup with a fire hose, but that's why I'm giving you this to take it home. And then, are they more interested in what they know or what you don't know? That will tell you as well. And you know what, I got to tell you, sometimes there are some people who do want to, it's very important for them to proclaim or tell others, and so you've got to be patient with that. I found if you give them an opportunity to do that and they get it out of their system, they won't keep fighting to do it. But if you have no wiggle room for them to express themselves, then they'll be frustrated and it'll come out all at once, or they'll just leave. We'll talk about that in a minute. Very quickly, behavior. Actions speak louder than words, and actions point directly to the interest of one's heart. Become an observer of people's behavior in your small group will help you know how to approach your life. What the life approach is all about. Can you tell if they are detail conscious or big picture thinker? Detail conscious is probably who more than anybody. Yes. And an explorer if it's something they're very passionate about. If we're not passionate about it, like, passionate about the dream, it's very organized. The closet, no. We're all very organized in our passion area. If it's social, then there's no one. I will tell you, sometimes navigators, when they plan social events, it's planned very well, but sometimes everyone's crying. This went well because it made everybody so nervous. We can't, have you ever been to someone's house and it's a fun social event, but it's so overly navigated that we really can't relax? You're eating your last bite of something. Okay, now it's time for dessert, and then we're bringing this in, and now we're opening presents, and then, so they may not be, who would be the best social travelers? Very social. Who would be the best one to put in charge of your testimony, share, philosophical aspect of your group? Explorers. Because they want to live in that question mark. So if you find a spot where everyone is their sweet spot, or their purpose area, or their life approach area, and put them just kind of in charge of that spot, they will be the best at it. And may not do exactly how you would do it, but they will do a good job because that is their, if you want to put someone in charge of a project and get an action plan done, we're going to collect clothes, we're going to do something for Christmas, and we're going to go take this, who would be your best person to say, Trailblazer, get it done. Get those navigators and trailblazers to get it done. So figure that out. Are they requesting a prompt or they need prompting? Who does not need prompting of all the four? How many work for a trailblazer or in a trailblazer in your life? Do they ever need prompting? They might need help with the schedule. They may not need prompting at the beginning, but they might need prompting during the process. Who doesn't the other need prompting? When I'm working with families and kids, and I work with kids, I used to say, do you ever have to be asked to do your homework? If they say no, 9 out of 10 possibilities they are probably what? Navigator. They want to get it done. They can't relax until they get it done. Some of you navigators are nodding your head. You can't even go to bed at night if there's one bowl in the sink. Like, what is wrong with you? You're tossing and turning. Keep that bowl in the sink downstairs. It just should be in the dishwasher, and I just realized I was supposed to get Ziploc bags, and I didn't. And now I'm going to have to go tomorrow morning, and between the peak hours of the grocery store, 8 and 8:15, it's high traffic in the Ziploc aisle. And explorers you're like, what are you doing? Is that true? You cannot relax so you don't have to be prompted. Explorers might need to be prompted a little bit, unless it's in their passion area, and so do travelers. If you're raising kids or grandkids and you're a navigator, or any of these adventure styles, and there's a kid, if you have a kid who needs to be prompted, especially for navigators, the navigators have a hard time not just letting them fail. Then I get them when they're millennials, and guess who has to prompt them constantly? Like, hey, is that stuff done? Oh yeah, I had it done for a week. Oh, could you tell someone it was done? Oh, I just had it on my computer. Do you want it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Prompt. Oh, you don't have a meeting right now. Oh, do we? Okay. Prompt. They're addicted to prompts. Because we have tried to, don't want them to fail, want them to be the best. Instead of saying, I remember my younger brother needed prompts a lot. So he would not take his lunch to school a lot. So the second time, the school called my mom and said, hey, Brian isn't having lunch today. She goes, okay. He said he forgot it. Okay. Well, I'll make sure he has one tomorrow. Well, Mrs. Joyner, you won't have any lunch today. Okay. Well, he's got to eat. Well, he will die in 3 hours. I'll pick him up at 2. She's like, I'm not going to teach him, go take his lunch, or go buy him a McDonald's and take it to him. After a couple times, she didn't want him to be addicted to prompts. Guess what? He never forgot his lunch again. Of course, she was a mean mother on campus, like, here's that lady that's starving her children. We have to be careful. Let them fail if they need to. Are they decisive or indecisive? Who are the most decisive of the two? And navigators. Period and exclamation point. That's pretty decisive. The question mark and the ... trailblazer, explorer or traveler are a little less decisive. Are they opinionated or open-minded? This is kind of more of a high-end, low-end. Across the board, People are more an outward expression of, are a little bit more opinionated in how they feel or think. Low ends are a little more open-minded. Do they move naturally to decisions? Can I? Explorer. Can it? Trailblazer. In the can, navigator, or kick the can down the road, traveler. Some people don't want to make a decision. I said this last time. Have you ever been on the phone with a traveler? Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you're one of them, and I tend to be this way sometimes if I'm not careful. Hey, Roger, do you want to go, we're all going to go do this, we're going to go to a rugby tournament, you want to go? I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of fun, not really for sure, but that might be good. Who's going? Oh, so-and-so, and so-and-so. Like, okay, well, perhaps I'll do that. I have some other things I might do that day, but maybe I can turn that around. How many dots did I just say? You get on the phone, you're like, yeah, is Roger going? I have no idea. Can you determine the win or the loss or the lose to them? What is the win for each person in your small group, and what's the loss? Now that you know how to mine some of the clues to help identify the adventure styles in your small group, review the adventure style training to see how to best relate to each personality. Let's go to page 6. If you are an explorer, if the explorer loves the journey more than the destination, so you will have to indulge their emotional processes at times. Explorers love concepts and are naturally drawn to the philosophical aspect of your Bible study. I know they bug you sometimes. I'm sorry. You're on a different page than me. Sorry, 4. And the reason why, because I had to blow my copy up bigger because of my age. So I can see it. Yeah. No, just speed it up. No. Page 4. So let's start over here real quick. The explorer loves the journey more than the destination, so you will have to indulge their emotional processes at times. Explorers love concepts and are naturally drawn to the philosophical aspect of your Bible study because everything matters. Defining purpose in all you do will be important as you lead. How many of you, stop here, how many think you have an explorer in your Bible study? How many think you have someone very philosophical in your Bible study? Okay, this is important. Explore the Word of God with them and allow them to wonder and wander through their spiritual walk. God allowed David to do that in the Bible, didn't he? And Joseph in the Bible. Literally wander and wander. Ask for insights and listen to their what? Ideas. Always begin with what? Why. Make the meeting meaningful. When leading an explorer, begin with why. If you ever have a meeting, somehow you say, today, this is what we're going to study, and this is why it's so important into our lives. We are doing this because God wants us to be, it says in His Word, so today we're going to explore the reasons why we should be more boom. If you have explorers sitting there, they think what? Oh, good. I'm in. Explain the connection. Tell the story. Don't do something just because you should. Tell the connection. And if you're starting something new, make sure you start. If you have a child, make sure they know why. Every kid asks why. But for the explorer, they will learn better, follow better, obey better if they understand why I'm doing that. I don't know if you have parents. Sometimes my parents are like, why do I do this? Why? Because I told you so. Now, if the 6th time that I ask why, then I understand that. But the first time, it's probably better to sit down and say, look, this is why we do this. This is what's important. Okay, I get it. I'm glad to cooperate. Begin with why. Explain the connection, tell the story. This is the story, this is the reason why we're doing this. Use reference points. Every once in a while, go back to the why. Now, as you remember, last time we talked, this is why we're doing this. Every once in a while, go back and hit the why. Even if it's 4 weeks into it, go back and say, remember 4 weeks ago we talked about this. Tell the story. Tell the why again. Create a structure to help them focus. Because explorers sometimes are distracted with every new cause and every new feeling, you've got to every once in a while, you have to find a structure for them to feel like comfortable in it. But keep them kind of back to the structure. Solicit their insight. This is very important, number 5, circle number 5. Solicit their insight, feeling into the process. How do you feel about this? If you want to do a one-on-one with an explorer, your phone call or your coffee time or your lunch should be like, Beatrice, how do you feel things are going? Solicit their insight. That's very important to them. Then you're going to hear this. You fulfilled the ideal set forth in my mind about this Bible study and allowed me to express my thoughts, explore my feelings, and enlighten others. That's what an explorer wants. Any explorers, when they shake their heads, is that how you feel? That's very important. Explorers, it's about the journey, folks. Go with them on a journey. If you've got kids or grandkids who are explorers, go with them on the journey. They say, this is what I want to do. Let me tell you about the five things that probably make that very unlikely. No, you say, okay, let's try that together. You may know it's not going to work out, or know it's not right, but at least fall in love with the journey with them. Go on it, and somewhere along the line, they're going to say, no, this is not right, is it? Like, no, but at least we figured it out. Let them figure that out. Let's go to Trailblazer, the next page, page 5, I believe. No, same page?
5.
Oh, good. The Trailblazer is all about the idea and the results. Again, some of you who work for a Trailblazer, they love the idea, they love the results, but they don't care for the what. And if you're handling the details, it's going to be your fault. Just so you know. Sorry. Like, well, I know, but I had no idea what you wanted to do. I know, but that's not the way. They don't like the details. So cover the material for each meeting, but don't get bogged down or sidetracked on the content. They're natural-born leaders. Trailblazers speak their mind and seek a place where they can not only be heard, but make an impact. They're all about impact. When they walk into your house, they're wanting to know, like, I want to be the best in here, and I want to tell everybody something that probably no one else knows. And I want to be good at what I'm doing. Don't embarrass me. Don't make me wear a funny hat or a costume. Don't make me look silly. I want to be strong. Do we know some people like that in the news lately? It's just the way they are. Connect to and celebrate their spiritual achievements and give them a place of what? Leadership. If they're not leading, they're not in. They want to have a place, something. Find a place for them to lead. Find the exclamation in the teaching and connect a strong action step to it. They're going to get tired of just learning and not doing. You've got to find something for them to do. It's like the grandchild you have, the child you have, that you all sit around and talk about it, and they go, Grandpa, can we just do it now instead of talking about it? Even if they do it wrong, they will learn by doing. That's how they learn. Those social, too much frivolity will annoy them, and they will feel the meeting is unproductive. Make the meeting count. They are social, but if it's too silly and too goofy, they're out. Right? Is that true, Trailblazers? I'm done. I'm wasting my time. I want to be productive. A Trailblazer, high end is all about what? Winning. A low end is all about what? Achieving. That's always on their mind, constantly. Everything they say, the best, the greatest, believe me. It's on my site right now. I have on pauljoyner.com. I have it's just a really cool kind of personality assessment of our president, and I don't weigh on one side or the other. I just give an assessment of. It's called the greatest decision Donald Trump will ever make, and it's a choice that we all have in our life, whatever venture style we are. Will we be amazing, or will we be a mess? It's up to us. Because we all have good and bad in our personalities that can make us superstars or really tough to be around. So if you want to check that out, it's kind of interesting. It kind of goes through a Trailblazer. He happens to be a high-end Trailblazer, which is all about winning. I don't have to tell you that. But it's a good expose of kind of what to look into that particular adventure style. So when leading a Trailblazer, get busy. Motion is meaning. Address achievement points. Work, family, personal. How is this going? How did that do? How did that turn out? Next week I'm going to go do this, and I'm working on a job here. Next week, write that down. How did that turn out? Achievement. Find out what they're doing in personal home work. Don't dwell on the details. Highlight the impact and results. If you work for a Trailblazer or you have a Trailblazer in your group, start with the results. Begin with the results. Here's what we want to do. No one else is doing this. You'll be the first one to make this happen. It could be huge. Now, here's what it is. You tell them what it is. You leave out the details. And then you say, you want me to go through the details? I put this on the next page. 9 times out of 10, they'll say, I don't want to see the details. Let's do it. But if you don't start with their impact first, it's usually not something they're interested in. Set goals. Here's what we do next. Like, are we going to sit here for the next 10 weeks? Like, in the very first session you have for small groups, they're sitting there and thinking, are we going to do this for the next 10 weeks? No, here's some action steps. Here's what to look forward to do. Let them make decisions and what? Will they always do it the way you want to? No. And they may be a little bit of bold and kind of shop sometimes. Just pull aside and say, hey, you're doing a great job, superstar. But be a little careful with this if you don't mind, because some people are like, oh, okay, get it. So here's what you want them to say. You don't bog me down with the details, but provide me with the spiritual impact and personal recognition I need to achieve a successful walk with God. Who is the trailblazers in the Bible? We talked about Old Testament. Moses. God put him in the center of every miracle because that's what, did God need him? No, God did not need Moses. Who needed Moses? Moses needed Moses. But God knew that. God created him. Old Testament and New Testament, Peter. He's restless, moving in every situation, trying to figure out what the win is, how to be the hero. But upon this rock I'll build my church, and he wasn't afraid. So you gotta remember that. Those people want to make a difference. Quickly, the next page, or the next one. I won't say if it's the next page or not, it may not be. The navigator is all about what? Accuracy. So it is important to have a plan for your meeting. Navigators thrive when order is evident and highly frustrated under chaos. Navigators love the details, and often too much. So give them a strong, clear, and concise information, leading to well-defined steps, and you will see them relax. Though they can be social, covering the assigned material is a key to their happiness. If I spend all week working on my material and you're not going to cover it, I wasted my time, and you know what? There's no purpose in order in this meeting. They are usually dedicated to the curriculum and like to see their effort honored. Begin with instruction and then move into intuitive learning. Make the meeting orderly. When leading a navigator, listen to their checklist and accommodate their progress. If you're going, the process. If they're going overboard on the details, say, look, I know it's important to you. I understand it. I'll make sure I keep that in mind, but I'm not going to, I think it's too much structure for the team. You have to help them navigate their navigational tendencies. Give a detailed plan, set and adhere to a routine, honor accuracy, punctuality, and structure. Give them opportunities to what? Organize. They love it. They live for it. Their sock drawer is a lot nicer than your sock drawer. I promise you. The meetings are thorough, organized, and productive. You honor my schedule, my Bible study preparation, and my need for spiritual what? Accuracy. They are very happy. Last one real quick. The traveler might be the most social of all members of your small group. Narrating the events of the day is how they connect socially. It's a small group dynamic. This natural narrator will struggle with follow-up and follow-through details, follow-through unless it's submersion, fun, pleasure, or perks. Detail to some narrators is something for which they struggle. Or I can say traveler there. They will focus on the fun of the relationship and not the what? Function of the organization if you left them. So utilize your Pied Piper magnetism and use conversation, perks, reward, etc. to get them to commit and walk through the details. Begin with reward. Let's finalize the experience we talked about, getting some details out of the way. We'll follow up with some fun information. If you want to get some more, get emails, help them further. You might want to, in other words, let's have a good time talking about this. I will help you remember the details later, and you might want to email them later or follow up with information to help them kind of say, oh, they'll be the ones that call, did you say what time we're going to meet now last week? Because they were more focused on the social aspect. When leading a traveler, paint an exciting picture, showcase the social connection, keep it creative. They love, folks, some of you don't care about this stuff, but they do. They love birthday time, anniversaries, holidays, church, social milestones. They'll show up with reindeer antlers on their head during your small group prayer time. Flashing blinking earrings, let them do it. They'll dress their cars up like Rudolph. They just enjoy it. That's fine. Thank God for them. Create a structured yet dynamic plan. Keep a structured plan and make it dynamic. In other words, make it interesting. Keep conversation relaxed and personal. I enjoy you and the mix of people in the group. The fun way we have together, the topics that we discuss, and the way we pray for one another makes me feel like this is a what? family. They really want a family. I love celebrating life together. They are always seeking, they go from one nest to the, and I promise you, even at the workspace of the office, it's a nest. It's decorated with, if they're into Dalmatians, it's 101 Dalmatians on their corkboard. If they're into butterflies, it's butterflies in the workspace. Home, work, small group, it's nest. They're looking for a family. So very quickly before we stop and maybe do some Q&A, broad spectrum leadership practices. This makes every adventure style happy. I know right now you say 10 things. It's pretty easy. 1, important to what? Especially for who? 2 of them especially. And Trailblazer. Well, we're sitting around here talking, like, can we get going? They're achieving, they have a schedule. 2, have an agenda but be flexible. That's important again for those 2. This is what we're doing tonight. Okay, but we're flexible. Have a social touch. For who? All of them, but especially for your travelers. Pre-frame the evening. This is what we're doing tonight. This is what we're going to accomplish. And navigator and who else? Navigational on the agenda side, but who else on the philosophical side? Explore. Let them know this is what we're going to accomplish tonight. This is why, you can put next to the pre-frame the evening, why we're here. 5, honor the Bible study material. All of them, really, but navigator is really important, but explore is important too. I spent a lot of time thinking about this. Did you fill in your blanks? No. But I thought about it a lot. Okay. Now that's true. Explorers, I'm giving you a hard time because I am one, so we do fill in our blanks sometimes. Okay. Address the action step. Trailblazer and secondary explorers, like, okay, so what are we going to do? I want to do something. Explorers' connection to God is what? Sensation, emotion. So they want to show that. Travelers, it's projects. They want to do that. So, action step. Plan a meaningful moment. Discussion, wrap up, prayer. That's important. You must have a meaningful moment in the evening or someone's not going to be very happy. Explorers and travelers. It's got to be meaningful. Not to say that navigators and travelers aren't meaningful. I'm just saying that it's not quite as important on the list as some of these other ones for navigators and trailblazers. Frame up schedule and coming events. Organize. End on time. But then what? Linger socially. So if you want to have some social, like, well, wait, everyone's having fun talking and getting a recipe on this lemon bar, that's fine. Do that after the end time, not during the study time. So plan time, so, and if you're a navigator, you want everybody out of your house because you can't wait to clean up the mess that someone made in the bathroom or in the kitchen. So just linger. Have a little bit of time, so I'm going to get 15 minutes, we're going to linger, and that's when we can do this. And you can even say, today, hey, we're going to get through this, we're going to get done, we're going to stop at 7:30, and then we can share and have some food and talk for a while afterwards. That way everyone's happy. So again, you have your adventure styles and your life approaches in your large chart I gave you. Now go through and try to determine by the words, tone, interest, and behavior who they are. Based on that, look at the mix of your group and say, and put them in categories in your mind, not tell them who they are, and then say, here's what we're really going to be strong, here's where we're going to be weak, here's how I can best lead these people. And in that way, and do this at work, in your family, dynamic. If you understand where everyone fits in and are all happy and say, okay, I try to be the person that considers everyone's life approach, everyone's adventure style. And I think it'll make your meetings a little more productive, people will be more happy. You won't gather people in your small group that are just like you only. That's what happens a lot. Some people start leaving, like, I didn't like that, what happened? Or they're too social, or they're not organized, or they're this, or they're too mean. I don't know who's mean, but maybe that's happening sometimes. Or I can't be myself, you have to be everything to all people, the best you can. And then if they're unhappy, so be it. But at least you made that effort.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to have Amy and Bethany here. They're going to carry the